G's S. Christ. Chris, I wish I had your moderate tone and method of rational discussion. It's hard for me to restrain myself to an effective level of volume. When I think about all of these things going on with Scientology and what it has done to people, I just scream and want to punch people. That is really difficult for me because I lean a little Buddhist and wish I could tolerate the shame and degradation C of S imposes upon its victims/followers. My question, what is your secret for not exploding like the Tasmanian devil as I seem to do? Okay, well, let me tell you a little bit about how I got into the critical thinking thing, because that kind of answers the question. When I first went down the rabbit hole in 2013 and started going into the internet and finding out things that I had no idea about in regards to Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard's history, David Miscavige's history, things that had gone on with the church that I had never known about, I was in a state of shock and betrayal. I had invested 27 years of my life into this activity, most of it 24/7, and to find out that I had been being taken advantage of and used was a shock. And there was a great deal of anger and upset at that time, and I vented that anger anonymously. I came up with a name. I think I Hate Duplicity was the name I used on the ex-Scientology message board, and I just downloaded, man. I just this is how I feel, and Ron Hubbard and Miscavige, and I called them names, and I was ranting, and I was very upset, and I kind of got a lot of things off my chest at that time, and kind of got some of that anger out. And of course, shortly after that, I started refocusing on what was I going to do now, and what was I going to believe, and how was I going to approach life, because suddenly all these rules and axioms and ideas about life, the universe, and everything were gone. I didn't have them anymore. I didn't know what to think. I was going to have to reevaluate, did I believe it? Did I think it was true? Did I know it was true? Or was it something L. Ron Hubbard told me was true, and therefore I had just accepted it? And this was all aspects of life. This was everything. This was, am I a spiritual being? Is there, what is clear? What is OT? Do these things, are they real? What has been my own personal experience with auditing? Did I really get gains? Did I really improve? Was it really helpful to me? The courses that I did that really, I had to reevaluate for myself, where do I stand? And what I very much didn't want to do was go from one cult into another cult. So I was very consciously not going to dive into some other belief system that somebody else formulated. I wanted to figure things out for myself. And that's when I just happened to come across skepticism, the subject of skepticism and critical thinking. And these were new subjects for me. I had never really read about or studied or known anything about them. And I was very fortunate, I felt, to be doing internet searches and come across this stuff. And I found the works of Carl Sagan. In discovering critical thinking and discovering skepticism specifically, I found it absolutely fascinating, and I loved the way Carl Sagan specifically wrote and spoke. I thought it was very appealing, I thought it was very factual, and I thought it was very logical, and it changed my mind about things, and it enabled me to change my mind because he wasn't putting information out there in such a way that he was trying to ram it down my throat. He was just, here's some information, do what you will with it. And I thought, that's the way to go. And so I decided that in December 2013, when I was going to start speaking out again, and writing articles, and this is when I first started putting articles together, that the way I was going to change hearts and minds of those still in the church, or people who were recently out, or people who never had anything to do with it, no matter who I was talking to, it seemed to me that critical thinking and being reasonable and factual and and using evidence was the best way to go. And I want to be clear about one last thing on this. That doesn't mean that I don't have feelings or emotions about the Church of Scientology. And I guess all I really want to say about that right now is I have a great deal of anger towards the Church of Scientology and specific individuals in that group, because they took things away from me in the whole process of declaring me a suppressive person and disconnecting me from people that I have known and loved for years, including a woman that I wanted to marry, and very much was meant everything to me. And now she's not part of my life anymore, and I'm still pretty not okay with that, So it's not that I'm not angry. It's that I choose to not express myself that way because I don't think that's an effective way to communicate. And I know other people have their ways of communicating, and I think we all have our roles. This isn't, just because I choose to be this way isn't a criticism of how anybody else is in terms of ex-Scientologists who speak out. I got nothing, I got no judgment on any of them. I support everybody who speaks out against the church and however they want to do it. But I choose to be this way because I think this is the best way for me to be.